Hey everybody, Stafford G doing his bike ride. Beautiful day. I don't know what day it is. I think it's Tuesday or Wednesday, one of the days. But the beach is quiet. Surf's up. Everybody's at work, except for the people that come here and do their little vacation. Little vacation day. No boats out on the water. No fishermen. Kind of windy. This is a windsurfing day. Now, windsurfing's not much of a popular sport anymore. It's like windsurfing. I talk about these jobs I've had throughout my life is important in the fact that most professional network marketers do this, and that this is like Tony Robbins or like Ray Higdon or like Gary Vee. These people that's all they do. It's a freedom lifestyle, but they work, and thank God, rightly so, because they work and really help out a lot of people. But that's what they have to do daily, where you and I can come to a place where we don't have to. And so when I say windsurfing, I had a job, and this job was probably the longest job I had. 13 years for me. I had two jobs, 13 years. Property manager down in St. Thomas, which was like living in my own home, taking care of my own house. And then I worked for a company, Jan's Mountain Outfitters, in Park City for 13 years. I worked at Stein Eriksen Lodge, where I was on the mountain of Deer Valley then, and Jan's had a store there. They had a store at the bottom of the mountain, which was the only store at the time. The only, skiing, ski wear, ski boots, all the equipment, goggles, whatever. They had a store at the bottom of the mountain. And I worked for Stein's for a couple of years, and then I got on with Jan's, and my thought was, I went over and saw this kid, and he was working at a warehouse. He wasn't a kid, he was my age, but he was a kid. We were kids at the time, and he was working on a windsurfer. And I'm like, I start talking with him, and I'm like, so what do you do? And he goes, well, I sell for Jan's, but I also teach windsurfing out on Deer Creek Reservoir, which was the reservoir that my house in Midway overlooked. I looked at Deer Creek Reservoir from the window of from my balcony of my house, and it was an incredible insight to me, going, oh man, I got to do that. So ended up, I waited to went this winter, and went to winter, and I applied for a job at Deer Valley, and got right on. And you start out, we were getting ready for the ski season, so we were bringing in ski equipment, ski clothing, ski boots, skis themselves, bindings, everything, goggles, all the apparel that you have to be in the ski on the ski mountain. So that was my start, and I have no clue what year it was, but anyway, so I start working with them. And this is a job that the managers, or the people that have been there for a while, it's like they'd be into work, and then they go, oh God, I got to go out and ski for an hour. So they're in their winter clothes, their school clothes that they work with, and we dressed actually really nice up at Deer Valley. We had slacks and nice clothing, because it was a very high-end place. And they just, you throw on a one-piece suit, put your ski boots on, got your skis there, bada bing, you're out the door. Up on the mountain, ski 2-3 runs, come back in, and you're like, oh. And so that's what ended up being a motivator for me. Was like, this is just a great place. And so I worked through these people, and I think I worked, 5 years before they made me manager. I was selling so much equipment, and I was so good at sales, that they were paying me more commissions. I was getting paid commissions in my salary, which salaries were nothing, or it wasn't even salary, it was a hourly wage. I was making more than the managers because of my commission. And it was like, they have to make it so you can't make that much money, so they promote you to be a manager. Now I was started assistant manager and stuff like this. But anyway, starts out, and I end up having to work, and then they put me on full time once I was made assistant manager. So I was working this Deer Valley store in the winter, and then I'm working Park Avenue store, the main store, which is right in Park City, that had been there since I don't know, 10 years or whatever. And it's summertime, it's full on fly fishing, biking, clothing, it's all summer stuff. It's rock climbing, everything sporting goods stores too. And we were high-end stuff, very high-end equipment, clothing high-end, skis high-end, bikes high-end, and fly fishing very high-end. And I get this job where I'm like, summertime, and Jan's had the rights to certain part of a river on the Weber River that was closed off to fishing by anybody except for the Jan's people. And we're under contract, and we sold permits to I think 100 people. I don't know how many people, but as employees, I got to go fish up there. I got to go fishing on this elite river where no one else gets to go. We had a private lake that was a locked gate that we could drive into and fish on this private lake, and I mean stuff like that. And then I taught windsurfing in Deer Creek. I got to the point where I was skiing in the winter 2-3 times a week, plus I could go anytime during the day while I was working, as long as it wasn't busy. It was like this is a dream job, right? And that's why probably I lasted 13 years, because I'm not one to stay with anything that long. I build my house, and I am done with it, and find the island of St. John in the Virgin Islands and decide to move there. And I'd lived in my house for 10 years, but it was like it didn't matter anymore. Buddha being pick up moving. I didn't sell the house because I didn't want to realize I was having a midlife crisis as opposed to an epiphany of going down there. And so I kept the house, and I moved in '99, and I kept it through the 2003 Olympics. And after that, I think I sold it in 2004. And because I had done that, I had been there and done that, and that's kind of the way I am with everything I do, except for direct marketing. Direct marketing is always been there since 2004, which I do. It's a part of my life as far as making a couple hours a day of specific, detailed, focused work. And sometimes I do it 5 hours a day, and sometimes I do it all day, depending on what's going on. And that's something that has since 2004 been in that's what I do. The rest of the stuff to me was sideline. Anything I was doing when I was property managing, when I was the stock market, when I was trading stocks, because I started trading stocks down in St. Thomas probably 2006 or 7. And I spent a lot of time on the computer because I was day trading, but I was also making a lot of money. And so I was very focused on that. But at the same time, I still ran my direct marketing business. And it was a daily thing to make contacts, make calls, talk to people, the things that you do to generate sales in your business. That's what happens, and I do it now. That's all I focus on. And the thing about that is being able to work. My background in working was all about fun. It was all about having jobs and playing at the same time as being serious about life as I could. I never could take it serious to the point where my father thought once I built my house, I was so good at it. It turned out so beautiful. He thought that's where I should keep and continue my process and become a builder and start making money building. What I'm like, that's not what you do. But that's the difference in generational thinking. about how people do things. So these quick videos I do are basically, you know, everybody talks about coming from zero to being successful. You know, most of their videos talk about, oh, I was living in a van, I had no money, I couldn't pay rent. Mine has never been that way. Mine's kind of one of I've always been able to do, and you know, and I can't say I've always been wealthy. I've had tough times. I've had situations where things weren't right, but it wasn't the thing where my income from sales of direct marketing was always something that I had. It was, you know, and sometimes it went down, and you know, these companies go belly up, or everybody leaves them and stuff, or you know, they switch companies, and you're like, okay, now where we go? You know, it was that kind of a thing. And I've been fortunate enough to be with some pretty outstanding mentor leaders that I just follow suit. I didn't ever have to dictate what we were doing because I didn't see it. But it's like now, with what I'm doing now, I was a lone blood when I saw this. I saw a video by the gentleman that started this company, and I said, this guy is extremely intelligent, extremely well demeanored in the fact of he was be able to find a niche that everybody can do. Not, you know, if you don't know how to sell, most companies and businesses, it's hard for you to do. Most people that don't have personalities have a hard time where they can go out and just start shooting the shit with people. And, you know, and that's kind of what most of these MLM companies off, you know, that's part of the process. You've got to be someone that becomes the leader. You have to be able to open up and do what the 1% or 2% elite do, you know, and go put on meetings and stuff like that. And it's so great because it's a whole new era, and it's about being able to be yourself, do what you like to do. You know, it's so. Here's the deal. I'm click the link on below. I'll put a link down there. Follow me on Facebook. Write comments about your times, about your, you know, whether they be tough or whether they be easy, whether, you know, your background, a little bit about yourself and stuff. That's important to be able to start telling people. And so the link at the bottom, click it on, and I'll see you on the next video.